Okay, welcome to SkyRise Farms Emergency Podcast, broadcast, live stream. Excuse my ghoulish-like appearance. It is what it is. My background is far more depressing. We're going to jump into a screen share. My goal here is to knowledge transfer to anyone interested on this apocalyptic Saturday morning. Happy Father's Day to all those celebrating. And I guess especially to all those fathers who are being killed needlessly across all our wars, across all these countries. God damn it. That being said, I think I feel compelled, I feel called by God to express how important it is that we start retrofitting underutilized commercial real estate into high output agricultural manufacturing capacity. We can use pallets, and this is what we're going to break down in this video. We can use pallets to grow all sorts of critical agricultural products, food, medicines, livestock feed, baby puree, or organic fertilizer, a bunch of other stuff, right? And this is the easier application of pallet-based ag manufacturing. It is much easier to do these things than people want to admit. I know a lot of vertical farming companies are going, will go bankrupt, and I know billions of dollars worth of capital has been lost because of that. However, it's doable. It's actually really easy. I figured out the simplest way to do all these things, and we're gonna get into it. So I have no structure here. I just have to get this. I just had to get this message out. So we're gonna get into it. Let's think. Let's talk about the simplest form of agricultural manufacturing, which is a off-the-shelf pallet and an off-the-shelf hydroponic tray. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, share entire screen. Great. And now we're gonna start with the Google, and we're gonna do a 4-foot by 4-foot hydroponic tray. All right, this is what I'm talking about. There's Botanicare, that's the main manufacturer. Now I'm calling on the owner of Botanicare, Scott's Turf or whatever, the giant company out of, I think, Ohio, that bought up a bunch of hydroponics. It is now in the national interest, where are you, Scott, the Scott family, that you start mass producing these fucking trays like no one's business. Now, this is your standard 4-foot by 4-foot. You can get them from all sorts of websites, okay? And it doesn't really matter. Now, 4-foot by 4-foot, outer diameter or inner diameter. So obviously the outer diameter, not obviously, counterintuitively, the outer diameter being 4 feet means that the inside is a little bit smaller than 4 feet. The interior diameter, says that that interior length is 4 feet by 4 feet. So the whole tray ends up being a little bigger. But these are super important, right? And you can just take this and glue it onto a pallet. Honestly, anything will do. You just want it to be a little bit bigger than your pallet. I like these, personally. They're called the low tide 4x4 trays. And I like them for a couple reasons. They're cheaper, so your budget for trays just goes further. But it really does come down to what you're trying to grow and how you're trying to grow it. Get the trays you can get. It doesn't really matter. And then what we do is we attach them to pallets. And this is the simplest way to go about it. Now, pallets are kind of expensive because they're meant to hold a lot of plastic, a lot of weight. And so they are very highly reinforced. Here's like a metal one, obviously. It's like $300. Kind of the cheapest plastics you can get are like $125. But to be frank, it's like any pallet will do. All right, now be careful. That's a half a pallet. And even a wood pallet would do. And now, see, that's interesting. So 275. Oh, this is great. Okay, good, good, good. I was like, they've gotten really expensive. Like, inflation really hit this, but I believe this is a pack of 5. Fantastic. So for 25 bucks a piece, you can get these pallets. And all you have to do is, and you know what? I'm gonna jump on my own stream here to just be able to see make sure my screen and audio is coming through. Otherwise you have no idea what I'm saying. Okay. Let's hope it comes through. Where's my restream? Where's my stream? Okay. Great. It is coming through. Okay. You just attach them to these. Glue, Velcro, plastic welding, epoxy, it doesn't matter. Just attach them. And what you want to make sure, okay. Never mind that. Don't worry about my, you want to make sure that your pallet, okay. Third piece is pallet racking, right? Pallet racking comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes, right? You can get them used, you can get them new, it doesn't really matter. When you're growing in the simplest version, just get the pieces together. Now you have to get your pallet, what do they call them? The decking or the, man, there's all sorts of different types of names for it. I'm no pallet expert, okay, excuse me. There's like too many moving parts in my brain, but you have to get something like this to go in the pallet, and then you're on the pallet racking, and then your pallet and tray go on top. Now you have to make sure you attach your tray such that, where did that go? That the outlet, you see that square in the bottom? You see how all the lines come down and meet on down here? That square down there is maybe like 2 inches below the bottom of the, you can see it right there. It comes down. And so it won't sit flat if you put it on a surface. That piece needs to hang off the edge of your tray, of your table. In this case, it's a pallet. So that piece, that lip, that last 2 inches has to hang off the front edge of your pallet. You see what I'm saying? It would be hanging off so that the outlet goes down to the one below it, and the pallet could be inserted in and out of the tray. Now inside, you can grow whatever you want. It's not, you know, what's the most important thing? I mean, honestly, one of the most important things is seafood and fish. And what we can do is, this is like a whole nother thing. What we can do is use totes. They're called IBC totes. Where are they? IBC tanks. These are the stands. And they are basically water tanks with pallets built in, and of course the structure to allow about 250, 300 gallons. Now you could put these bad boys up and down your system, and they have outlets in the front. And internally, you can put like an L-shaped PVC so that the water stays at the very top, but excess water spills out into a central outlet, which comes out here. And then this should go in the one below it. And what we should be doing is I'll have to show you some other way. Let's see, where am I? Where's my stream? What we should be doing is building towers of aquaculture systems in as many floors as we want, wherever in the bottom of our vertical farms. This produces seafood. It produces easily can crank out tilapia. And you can imagine a tower that is, as high as the ceiling, so at least 10 feet usually, if not up to 20. And these are just industrial pallets. Every 4 feet is a pallet, deck. And then we have usually, at least 2, if not more, IBC totes. So that's like 500 gallons of fish water per level. And you're talking like at least 2 levels, 4 feet, 4 feet. In a small, an office building, 10-foot clearance is not uncommon if you take the drop-down ceiling away. But wherever you are, right? And then you could double that, and you can have 500, 1,000 gallons of fish tank water, and then you can have. Let's design it live. Let's see. How do I log into my? Oh, I should. Let me share this. So I understand this is insane. It is what it is. All right, guys? It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. This is the least insane thing going on in the world right now. This, dude, but how do I just use it? Can I just use SketchUp? They've stopped making it easy to use. Dude, I just want, I have an account. Where is, what the heck? Plans, Education Studio, no. Where's my SketchUp account? What is going on here? Dude, what is happening? I guess I can't. I don't know what the hell. Did they just cancel it? Did they not do it anymore? SketchUp Online. Man, they really hide it. That's what happens when whoever buys your business. Some of the systems I've designed. Okay, so we're going to use boxes as much as we can because it'll take too long. So a simple and easy, very common pallet racking to find is 4 feet deep by 10 feet wide. And then is 10 feet tall. So easy peasy. This one is everywhere. And let's see, right? And we can imagine, actually, let me do this way. We can imagine these to be our levels, right? And we have 2 kind of There's no separator here, but you can kind of imagine each one of these being a tote, right? A single tote is like 4 by 4, 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. Oops. Right. And if we maybe doubled this and we had a tower that was 20 feet tall, because basically what we got to do is have filtration. And so inside every tote, do I have warehouse access, import, Trimble Connect? No. Import my device. There's no warehouse. Normally they used to have, maybe I just don't know how to use this. Like a warehouse, you could download basic. Maybe it's the upgrade. Okay. Let's just make it real quick. So in this case, I'm getting into the weeds, but this is my show, so tough. Oh, man. I think we have to do it from scratch. Okay, so if we have a tank, an IBC tank, those white ones, and we make it 1-inch thick plastic, which it's not. Something like that. Okay. Oops. And you can imagine, well, there would be a piece of plumbing that is let's call it 1.5 inches in radius, and it would come up to whatever you want your water height. So let's make it 6 inches lower than the top of your tank. Okay. And at the bottom there would be a elbow. So I'm making another piece. This would be PVC. Oops. Everything comes back to Jesus. And I would put this at literally, well, you know what? It's honestly dictated. This outlet needs to come out if you recall, there was this outlet. So it needs to come out that same thing. And there's like a threaded screw usually, so that you could put an internal plumbing if you want. So whatever that, height is, okay, right? So just imagine that's an elbow. So it's kind of one piece of plumbing, and it comes out there. And yes, it probably would become a smaller pipe, but whatever it is. And if we kind of put this back in there, so you can imagine a standpipe that's hollow, right? And it comes out, and so therefore this Let's see. Can I do water? Architectural stuff. That's not what I meant. Materials. Can I do, yes, water. I want it there so you can see through, right? So this now is a 250 gallon fish tank that can now be forkliftable, right? It had those it had that forklift on the bottom. So now you can pick these up, fill them, put your fish in there, carefully put them on the rack. Now what needs to happen, if you will, let's put this bad boy there. Oops. Right? This outlet needs to spill into the tank below it. So it doesn't need to come out this far, but it will come out a little bit, and it just needs to go down okay. There we go. Okay, whatever that, right? And it doesn't really matter how you do it. You just want as little resistance as possible. So keep the diameter of the outlet the same as the diameter of the tank's outlet. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that outlet is. I think that's an inch. I don't know. 2 inch diameter. Great. So just use 2-inch plumbing all the way through. Not 3. 2-inch will be enough. And what you want to do is basically have you have 300 gallons, you have 250 gallons. You need water exchanged in this thing at least once an hour, if not twice an hour. So that gives you the size of your pump. 250 gallons every 60 minutes is a modest 4 gallons per hour. That's like nothing. If you go to Amazon high lift hydroponic pump, 800 gallons per hour, right? 10 feet, 800, right? So we're talking, you'll need more than that, but this is not a lot of water movement. Now, the thing is, you're going to need filtration. And so you need mechanical, biological, and what's the term? You need 3-stage filtration. One for the solids, one to get a clarifier to get as many solids to drop out as possible. Then you need one to grab the solids that survive. Then you need a biological filtration to turn the fish urine into hydroponic fertilizer. And if I recall correctly, to do that, what are we going to do for that? I got to sit down and think about that a little bit. But it's like, it's as if, oh, because this is a component. Okay, let's just put that there. So we're gonna need probably like, oops. We need some sort of filtration, and if we only have 2 feet down here, that's rough. But I feel like you could do it. If you could fit, what is that? 500 is 1,000 gallons. 1,000 gallons of, I don't have the math in front of me, but I'm pretty sure an IBC tank would be enough. Certainly 3 of them. But then you're like blocking, that's a lot of that's a lot of filtration capacity for such a small system. And so I wonder if you need like, let's see. Oh man, where did my book go? Okay. Don't worry about that. I'll have to come back and do the math, but basically, for anybody who cared, the key is for every one of these towers, you'll need a modular filtration system, and that lets you clean and grow a ton of tilapia. Each of those tanks, 250 gallons, so you could produce 125 pounds of tilapia a year out of each tank. So as long as you size the filtration, and there's like a million ways to do this, you can stack these things and grow tilapia in like any space. Now, floor weight is a consideration, so you have to be careful there. But a lot of these buildings have basements, old parking garages can be converted. It's like not that complex, and I don't know how we're going to feed all these people in all these cities with all of these supply chain disruptions. It's like not bad enough that the supply chain itself is killing us with its lead poisoning. And I just found out these green powders, they have green powder lead test. Rhonda Patrick just did it. Heavy metals and green powders, all you need to know. Consumer Lab tested. This is 2016. So Dr. Rhonda Patrick, many popular green powders. Let me share my screen. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, a fantastic research scientist, super, super good scientist. Many popular green powders contain 1 to 2 micrograms of lead per serving. These levels are high enough to raise concern given that lead accumulates in the body over time and persists in bone. This means there is a long-term health risk. Lead can be mobilized from the bone during periods of high calcium turnover, such as pregnancy and aging. Chronic low-level lead exposure is associated with neurodevelopment impairment in children and cognitive impairment in adults. A high-quality multivitamin that's USP or NSF certified can provide the same essential vitamins and minerals without the contamination risk. If you prefer to stick with green powders, make sure you're using one with recent third-party testing showing low levels of lead, cadmium, and arsenic. It's also smart to avoid blends that use rice, algae, and other ingredients that tend to pull heavy metals from the soil. This is insane. Athletic greens, AG1, in the danger zone, 0.18 grams lead per gram, micrograms. It has to be micrograms. Per gram, though, you go and you do what's a serving? How many grams is in a serving? Calories, serving size, 1 scoop, 12 grams. Oh, great. 12 grams. Oh my God. 0.18 times 12 is 2.6 micrograms per serving. That's not good. That is not good. That is really bad. So there's that. And then the recent glyphosate study 4 days ago. Long-term animal study of this, I think this is it. Carcinogenic effects of long-term exposure from prenatal life to glyphosate and glyphosate-based herbicides in this type of rat. Just came out. Methods, results, conclusions. In all 3 treatments, statistically significant dose-related increased trends or increased incidences of benign and malignant tumors and multiple anatomic sites were observed compared to historical and concurrent controls. These tumors arose in these types of tissue, which is leukemia, and a whole skin, liver, thyroid, nervous system, ovary, mammary gland, adrenal glands, kidney, urinary bladder, bone, endocrine, pancreas, uterus, and spleen. Increase in incidences occurred in both sexes. Most of these involve tumors that are rare in SD rats. Background incidence is less than 1%, with 40% of leukemia's deaths in the treated groups occurring before 52 weeks of age, and increased early deaths were also observed for other solid tumors. So, glyphosate gives you horrific types of cancer. I watched my father-in-law die a brutal death on his bed from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he was such a healthy guy, so full of life and the Holy Spirit, and just he should have been canonized. He was a saint, truly. And he used a ton of weed killer through his life. It was just the thing to use. You go to Home Depot, you buy the weed killer, you spray it, and if you're tending to your garden and you have a family and a life and multiple jobs in America, nobody has one job in America, you had 10 kids, 3 adopted special needs kids. You use weed killer. Just to drive the point home, how much glyphosate is produced. It's an $8 billion market. 1.6 billion kilograms in America alone. Global glyphosate is 8.6 billion kilograms. So that's roughly times 2, over 2 times is pounds. So that is 17 billion pounds, 17 billion pounds of glyphosate used globally every year. Wait. Let's make sure. Since 1974 in the U.S., over 1.6 billion kilograms have been applied or so overall, thank God, globally glyphosate has risen almost 15-fold since so-called Roundup-ready, genetically engineered glyphosate-tolerant crops were introduced in 1996. 2/3 of the total volume of glyphosate applied in the U.S. from 74 to 2014 has been sprayed in just the last 10 years. Okay, slightly better. Not good though. So 16 billion pounds of glyphosate have been sprayed onto the planet. Your food, my food. Out of curiosity, China manufactures 60%, output exceeds 780,000 metric tons. So double that, 1.5 million tons a year globally, give or take. Now, this will make you cry. A researcher published a paper charting glyphosate usage and aligned it with deaths from Alzheimer's. So here, the death rate is in the bars. Glyphosate applied to corn is in the red, and then the percentage of GE in soy and corn crops is in the blue. And you can see before we start using glyphosate, and then the percentage of crops, percentage of soy and corn crops is important because that's the stuff that ends up, that is what gets sprayed, right? We have amount being applied, or the percentage of corn being, the total, the red is a total poundage of glyphosate. The blue is what percentage of crops are taking them. And so as the percentage of crops grows that have glyphosate on them, our exposure grows because the more likelihood of a random piece of corn or soy, corn syrup, corn starch, corn flour, all that stuff, and this doesn't have wheat in it too. Every cheap piece of flour you're eating has this hyper poisonous chemical in it. That's God's unfortunate truth. And as the percentage of these crops increased, that's when Alzheimer's deaths took off. As you see, like, we're dumping a ton of glyphosate, but when it jumps to spreading onto the average person's corn and soy, that's when deaths from Alzheimer's jumps as well. A damning trend. Oh, but is it also for number of people diagnosed with diabetes? Oh yeah, it also matches. And here's the green line is the pre-1990 trend. So 1996, they start cranking out glyphosate because of the plants that you can, because that's when they rolled out the plants that don't die from it. So now farmers are growing these GMO crops that don't die from glyphosate exposure, but everything around them does. But guess what? They're still being sprayed with it and absorbing it. They're just not dying from it. So just because they don't, in fact, because they don't die from it, they're probably storing more of it. And so then we eat that glyphosate. And if that never happened, the incidence of people with diabetes from the 10 years previous is that green line extending into the future. So the difference between the green line and the yellow bars is driven completely by these chemicals. New things that were started before, after 1990. Oh, that's diabetes though. Let's go a little further. How about Parkinson's? How Parkinson's was progressing, how glyphosate helped increase it. What else? What other horrific disease? Thyroid cancer. Look at that. Pre-1990 trend going down a little bit. Not from Bear. Bear's like, whoa. You guys don't have enough cancer. Have you tried GMO corn? And then the whole conversation was about the corn, the GMOing being bad. But the GMOing was just a vector for the glyphosate, which was the reason people, probably all of us, have some sort of perceived celiac sensitivity, right? Nobody's gluten intolerant. Very few people have celiac disease, I believe. It's mostly these pesticides. And when you drink beer and you get that, you can feel it. You feel like shit the next day. Hangovers have gotten a lot worse over the last 30 years. It's because these crops are being grown in soil that's accumulating this chemical. Every year, they're dumping 1.5 million tons on the soil. Where do you think that goes? That's in you and I. How many pesticides do you have in your body right now? Average person pesticide count. Oh, great. Study finding an average of 13 pesticides in the body. A more comprehensive study found an average of 91 industrial compounds, pollutants, and other chemicals in the blood and urine of volunteers, with a total of 167 different chemicals found in the group. Oh my God. What the actual fuck? Oh, it is. If it was just pesticides, it wouldn't be this bad. This is the problem. Every single one of these things is horrific. Every single one. Okay, in 2003, an investigation by the Environmental Working Group, Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York, and Commonweal researchers at two major laboratories found an average of 91 industrial. Oh my God! Oh, where's that document? Dun dun dun. So who knows if that is more than 90% of Americans have pesticides or their byproducts in their bodies. Fintiestic. There we go. Comparison of questionnaire-based estimation of pesticide residue intake from fruits and vegetables. So, okay, it's a lot. We get it. This isn't even the most, it's not the only one. Oh, this is oops. Now, so every piece of food, every piece of cheap corn syrup, corn, soy, and wheat in America is laced with multiple pesticides. Herbicide. You can also bet there's herbicides, fungicides, insecticides. I mean, those are pesticides, fertilizers, all sorts of crazy shit. Plus constant air traffic pollution, plus constant highway pollution, plus whatever's in the water from all the industrial activity nearby, plus the pharmaceuticals we're peeing out. Like, great. Food is chop suey. This is why we get leaky gut syndrome that science doesn't understand yet. This is why everyone's got gluten allergies. This is why we are bloated in America. It's why our food makes us tired after we eat. We're just dosing in chemicals. And the problem has just gotten exponentially worse in the past 10 years. Because it builds up every season in the plant, every season in the soil, there's more. So every season, the amount in your food, every year, the dosage is increasing because of the buildup from all previous years. Now, that's just agricultural chemicals, okay? Let's talk about plastics. BPA is called bisphenol A. It is a piece of plastic manufacturing. All right? Industrial chemical used to make polycarbonate plastics and epoxy resins. How many plasticizers are there? While thousands of chemicals have been evaluated, around 100 are currently produced in commercially significant quantities. So we got 100 of these things: BPA, BPF, blah blah blah. Bisphenol A, global output. It's the most popular. 10.6 million tons globally. Okay. Global production was estimated around 10 million tons. Okay? 10 million tons. It's in every cheap piece of plastic you're touching. 13,000 studies show over and over and over and over again how it fucks up the body, neurological diseases, disorders, health risks of, let's see if there's an overview. Because of the constant daily exposure and its tendency to bioaccumulate, BPA seems to require special attention such as biomonitoring. Oh, great. The main sources of exposure to BPA include food packaging and dust, dental materials, healthcare equipment, thermal paper, toys, and articles for children and infants. BPA is metabolized in the liver to form bisphenol A glucuronide, and mostly in this form is excreted with urine. Due to its phenolic structure, it has been shown to interact with estrogen receptors and to act as an agonist or antagonist via estrogen receptor dependent signaling pathways. Therefore, BPA has been shown to play a role in the pathogenesis, the development of several endocrine disorders, including female and male infertility, precocious puberty, and hormone-dependent tumors such as breast and prostate cancer. Oh, great! You learn something new every day. God fucking damn it. I was only aware of its obesity-inducing implications. Oh, God. So 481 articles talking about BPA-induced in obesity, transgenerational inheritance of BPA-induced obesity. So if your parents have gotten exposed to enough BPA for long enough, maybe you could get the obesity it causes. This is obesity aggravates toxic effects of spermatogenesis. That's not good. Creation of sperm. New evidence in BPA's role in adipose tissue development of pro-inflammatory processes and its relationship. Oh my God. Bisphenol A, an emerging threat to female fertility. So this is the one, oh God, look at these different sources. Adipocyte tissue. Where's the... man. BPA induced obesity. This is of course, sulforaphane. So I'd have to find that study. It shows that basically, of the many horrific things that BPA does, exposure. It makes your body overproduce fat cells, engorge them, and then blocks the signal. So your body can't see your fat, and so your body thinks you're starving. So it makes you eat a ton, but unfortunately, too many of those calories get put into fat cells the body can't see, and so it's in a constant state of hunger. And this is why in America we have like the most people that are more obese than ever in any other place in the world. and BPA fertility rate and birth rate. Fertility birth rate versus GDP. Look at this chart. The less your person makes by on average per year, the higher the birth rate. The poorer the country, the higher the birth rate. The more rich the country, United States, Switzerland, South Korea, the lower the birth rate. It's because daily BPA exposure is through the roof. This study from 2015, total of 204 food samples were analyzed for BPA. BPA was detected in 7% of fresh frozen foods and 73% of canned foods. So if you're poor or broke and you're eating canned food regularly, you are dosing yourself up with BPA. Adult exposure intake by food alone was 12.6 nanograms per kilogram of body weight per day, almost all due to canned vegetables. Oh my God. What the fuck? Can't even eat canned vegetables. This data suggests adult exposure in the 30 to 70 nanogram per kilogram per day. Okay. That is okay. BPA induced obesity blood concentration. I can't remember. The urinary levels in the obese patients were significantly elevated to a median concentration. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. Where did that go? Study population, da 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 da. This is a very well done experiment, you can tell. Just a volume of data. These are 1.6 to 7, 1.65. .33 micrograms per gram creatine compared to the control. Is that the? I gotta see it. Where is that? Okay, here our work started from case control observation that BPA exposure was significantly associated with the risk of obesity, metabolic, discussion. An animal model fed with high-fat diet confirmed that BPA exposure aggravated body weight gain and insulin resistance, concurrent with much heightened inflammatory responses in the adipose tissue, including in these matrix polarization. Oh, man, where is the number? This is something I have to do a deeper dive into, but I found that basically one time I did the math, and it's like 2 days worth of BPA exposure is enough to induce obesity if your liver is not getting it all out of your body. So slowly the liver, liver strength over time. Let's see, is there a chart over lifetime? I'm assuming the liver eventually loses the goddamn battle, and eventually BPA, it does not clear 100% every day. Eventually it's 99%, then 98, and you have a little bit of BPA left in your body, causing infertility, obesity. Like, what are we doing? BPA in shapewear, it gets worse. It gets worse. BPA in clothes. What was it? Bisphenols in daily clothes from conventional and recycled. Oh, great. The BPA concentrations varied. The median content in recycled textiles was 13.5 nanograms per gram, almost twice as high as conventional textiles. So recycled clothing is twice as bad for you as conventional. So the study was also assessed potential health implications via dermal exposure, so skin exposure to dry and wet textiles compared to tolerably daily intake. So this is what the FDA says is safe amount of exposure per day, 0.2 nanograms per kilogram of body weight per day, which is not true. For BPA set by the European Food Safety Authority. Okay. I don't think that's true. I disagree with that. 0 is the only amount. Exposure from dry textiles remained below this threshold, while exposure from wet textiles often exceeded it, indicating an increased risk under conditions that simulate sweating or humidity. So sweating in plastic synthetic clothes produces an absorption of BPA directly from the material. Then this group, California-based CEH, Center for Environmental Health, tested a bunch of clothing and found that there's way too much BPA. Oh, great! In leggings, shorts, sports bras, athletic shirts, testing showing clothing could expose wearers up to 40 times the safe limit, which is already too high. Great. Man, god damn it, dude. So, this is just the chemical problem. We're not even talking about World War III yet. This is so imperative. We have to get farms up and running immediately. If you're interested in getting your own farm up and running, contact me. If any city, any building owner, any business wants their own supply chain, decentralized, local, and clean supply chains for critical agricultural components, I can quickly convert a building into an ag manufacturing hub, and we can create beautiful vertical farming districts and all sorts of cool stuff. Just contact me and we'll get it squared away immediately. Good luck out there and Godspeed.